today we are helping James, who wrote this post. I'm reaching out with a question that's been on my mind lately. I've been working hard in Dubai, taking on low-paying jobs just to make ends meet. I'm from Uganda, and my dream is to build a house back home. Can 50 million Uganda shillings really build a decent house in Uganda? I would love to know if it is feasible and what kind of house I could get with that budget. Your insight would mean a lot to me. Thanks in advance. Not only is the answer yes, but you'll be shocked how far that money can stretch if you plan carefully, pick the right location, and use the right materials. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how 50 million can build a house, from planning to materials to budgeting, with examples. Let me say this clearly. 50 million can build a house, but not any house. Forget about those flashy tiles from Spain, those fancy windows from Germany. Instead, you will be working with solid, simple designs, as expert real estate agents say. What kind of house exactly can we build with 50 million Uganda shillings? Number one can be a budget 2-bedroom self-contained house. It will be 50 square meters total, with an open living room and a dining room. That is a living room combined with the dining room. It will have a small kitchen. It will have one shared toilet with a bathroom. You know this fancy thing of having your own toilet in your bedroom, stuff like that. It will have one self-contained master bedroom for the master. This one is perfect for young families and people starting out life. For people above 50 years and 60 years, you need something bigger. This house cannot work for you. The second type of house you can build with 50 million Uganda shillings is a mini 3-bedroom starter home. With the creative space planning, 50 million can build a 3-bedroom self-contained house, no corridors, to save space, whereby you shall have the living room and kitchen in one space. All bedrooms are connected to each other. It is compact, but again, it works especially outside big cities. And also, the third type of house 50 million can build is a starter house plus rentals, whereby you build the main house with one main bedroom, and then you build some other rentals at the back. The 20 million can be used to build the big main house, and then the 30 million can be used to build those other rentals at the back of the house. And these rentals are usually single room rentals, not double room. This gives you income and a home. You're reaping from the rentals, and then you have a home. The other thing we have to talk about is the material. The material you use is where your money bleeds or where you win from. If you use expensive materials, it means you're going to spend a lot of money. And in this way, here is what to use. Use burnt bricks because they are cheaper than blocks. The other thing, you should avoid using roofing tiles and instead use iron sheets, because iron sheets are way cheaper than roofing tiles. Roofing tiles are very expensive. They are going to exceed our budget. Then the other thing, you have to use milled steel windows and doors instead of using aluminium windows, because aluminium is very expensive. The other thing, you can use terrazzo or cement floors instead of tiles, because tiles are very expensive. You should source paint from local companies, for example, Crown, or even local brands like Sadolin are way cheaper as compared to those other brands of paint. The other thing, you should avoid large ceiling areas because this will increase the roofing cost. And the other thing, you should avoid curved walls or even excessive design features. Those fancy things, you avoid and you concentrate on the things that are going to be costing very little for you to build your 50 million house. And this is real, guys, because I have a cousin sister of mine who built the same house on the same budget, 50 million. Back there in Masaka, she used terrazzo tiles, and then she used steel windows instead of aluminium. She used iron sheets instead of roofing tiles. She was on budget. She knew that she had little money, and then she said, since I have 50 million, I'm going to use these materials and I'm going to stick on these materials. Where you build the house matters. If someone builds a 50 million house in Kampala, it will be a small unit, a small car rental on 50 million. as compared to someone who uses the same 50 million to build a house in another region like Wakiso or Mokono. It may be a 2-bedroom house, well finished and basic, but solid. Then someone who has the same 50 million and wants to build a house in some other area like Mbarara or Jinja may even build a 3-bedroom house. And then if someone uses the same 50 million to build a house in a rural area, he can use the same money to build a house which has 4 bedrooms and a very big sitting room. This house could even have a big compound with everything well set. So it all depends on the region you're building the house. Why the difference? I think it is because of land prices, labor costs, transportation, all that stuff. If you are building a house in Soroti or somewhere very far, land is very cheap. But if you're building the same house in Kampala, land is more expensive. Only half of the land can eat half of the budget you have, as compared to Soroti, where land is more affordable and 50 million even builds more. How can you stretch the 50 million and build smart? Here's how you stretch every shilling. Number one, we shall look at the first construction, whereby you will use 10 million to raise the foundation and walls. You'll use 8 million for the roofing. And then you'll use 8 million for windows and plastering. And then you'll use 5 million for plumbing and wiring. And then you'll use 10 million for finishes and paint. And then you'll use 9 million for labor and transport. The second thing you have to do is to do some work for yourself. For example, painting. You can act as the foreman instead of hiring an engineer. Compound grass for yourself instead of hiring those people to come and plant the grass. Those simple things by yourself instead of hiring people that are going to charge you extra money. Then the third thing you're going to do is to buy in bulk, because this one saves us a lot of transport when buying goods. Leave alone this thing of buying things using a motorcycle each and every day. Like Boda man is coming with cement, tomorrow is coming with iron sheets. Things like that are going to cost you a lot of money. Instead, buy in bulk and then you bring all the stuff once, maybe on a pickup. And in that way, you're going to save transport. You're going to use little money. When you buy in bulk, your supplier is going to give you some discount. Unlike when you're buying one thing, you're buying a kilogram of nails. In the second day, you're buying a bag of cement. He will not give you a discount, however much you try to buy many things on different days. Unlike when you come and you buy in bulk, you buy in batch, the supplier is going to give you a discount, and in that way you're saving money. Here is some advice from ground. Let me read it for you. Don't build what you can't finish. They're also saying merge your spaces. Open plan is cheaper. Then they're also saying use local materials and trusted builders. If you use local materials are usually accessible, usually cheaper. You can find them at any hardware nearby you. There are certain things you should avoid when you're building your 50 million house. Some people building houses lose a lot of money because they start without a plan. Then others use social media fancy designs to build. When you copy social media fancy designs, you're going to make mistakes. You should avoid using fancy designs from social media that don't fit in your budget. Then the other thing is to think expensive is durable. Many people out there think that if they buy expensive materials, that is durable. No, you can even find something cheaper but more durable than the expensive thing. Another mistake people commit is not to inspect the sites regularly. Most people, once they provide the material, then they set the builders at the site, then they leave all the work to the engineer, or they leave all the work to the chief builder at the site. This is a great mistake. You have to inspect your site regularly to see whatever they have spent, whatever they are doing, whatever they are using at the site. And in that way, if you're following up regularly, you're going to be able to save some money and avoid losing chunks of money just because you never inspected your work or you never inspected the house they are building for you. Someone who had to use about 50 million Uganda shillings will end up spending more than 50 million Uganda shillings just because you failed to inspect the work, and builders are giving you extra costs on cement, stones, things like that. Don't fall into these traps. Be involved and practical so that you don't lose a lot of money when building your house. Back to the question, can 50 million Uganda shillings really build a house here in Uganda? The answer is yes, and the only thing you have to do is to plan right, get the right location, and also use the right materials. I want you to keep your expectations clear, use what's around you, and build what you need, not what people admire on Instagram. That is a very big mistake people commit. I want you to drop a comment if you are building or planning to build a house in the next few weeks or the next few months. And I want you to tell me what you would do with your 50 million Uganda shillings. Guys, we are building dreams. So don't forget to subscribe before you leave this channel. I remain Dominic Mo. Bye bye.